and some Kurdish nationalists believe that they are true, fundamentally Kurds. But that is really besides the point. I mean, that contributes to the really the whole issue of genocide. In terms of, yes, I think it is basically the 74th genocide of them, and in more recent history, Saddam Hussein, for instance, Al-Qaeda, and then basically 2014, we had this major basically blow to the integrity and the whole being of a very fragile basically minority. Now, in terms of statistics, accurate statistics are not available in terms of the total population. I have read several basically studies about what percentage of the population, and for instance, in one study they say about near 3%. As Hannah accurately portrayed this, of course we have to magnify girls and basically young women who would repeatedly tortured, but the entirety of the Yazidis have been subject to deportations. They have been subjected to massacres and sexual violence, so on and so forth. Thank you for bringing this up, because we tend to forget, that particular element, particularly Said plays a very significant basically role, which I totally ignored when I wrote basically a film review for this. I think the real challenge is basically who remains in captivity. That is what your question is addressing. But in terms of the total population, 700,000, 200,000 to 1 million, you see it's a very wide range, mostly in Sanjar region of Iraq and northern Iraq, but they are everywhere to be basically found along basically the Turkey, Syria, and Iran. But the total concentration and the greatest blow was done to the Yazidis, Izadis, as they call, some of them call themselves Izadi, meaning basically followers of angels, and obviously, and famously called Satan worshippers. They have everything to do with goodness except basically evil, and definitely there was the plunder of their property, disposition, destitution, and there was basically militarism of the Islamic State of Iraq, and also their sexual basically satisfaction. They were seeking basically this, and Islam was used as a justification, and their evil basically, or Satan worshiping, was really an excuse. Going back to your original question, then they say almost 2,800 to 3,000 women and young girls remain in captivity out of the population that is now totally dispersed, and more than 300,000 live in these really tents. And we saw a couple of those tents, and we're under the deplorable condition that the Yazidis basically live.
Show up their bravery, their talents, their